Some of you may remember me. I've been stalking the agricultural community here for about a decade or so. In fact, I used to be the director of the SBTDC, rolls right off my tongue. I remember working with Wendy back in the day when teaching ag business almost got me fired because people in the state level did not believe small farms should be treated like businesses. We've come a long way in 10 years, and very happy to come back into this program. You may or may not know, I recently joined the staff of the Michigan Land Use Institute, and very happy after 7 years sabbatical of self-employment, let's say. It was a good time out there in the real world, but Hans and the crew invited me to become part of Michigan Land Use Institute and take on the marketing piece of Taste the Local Difference. And I would just say a word to tell you that we're going to take a new spin on Taste the Local Difference this year, and it will be treated a bit differently than it has been in the past. We've done a great job over the past decade of really standing behind the small farmers and the rest of the folks in the agricultural community and building that side up. We have always had the intention that what that was about was to sell more local food in our region. This year, we're going to do something different. We're going to spin that equation around, if you will, and we're going to focus a lot on the consumer, to teach the consumer to want to buy more local food. We have a great community that has been built up by the Food and Farming Network, both formally and informally. Now it's time to turn that around to the consumer and find ways to engage the consumer in wanting to buy local food, and that's my job. My job here at MLUI is nothing less than to sell more local food here in the community. We're treating this 2013 year as an experiment, and I say that clinically and academically. We are looking at this as a formula that we're anticipating as a hypothesis might work. We're hoping it's going to work. It might not, but we want you to bear with us. And part of that is going to be re-examining TLD as a brand, re-examining it as a marketing tool, and what I'd like to see as a marketing engine for all of you who have products to sell. We're going to find ways to stand at the places where people buy food and get them to understand your product better and why they should buy it, why perhaps they might need to pay a little more for it. And in fact, if I'm doing my job correctly, the people in those grocery stores and restaurants will understand that selling your food is not a matter of costing more for them, but a matter of a way for them to make more money, because guess what? It's got more value. We've proven that. Now it's time to find a way to engage the consumer in that, and that's going to be my job over the next couple years. I'm thinking, Hans, how long am I going to be in this job? Not real sure. I also wanted to suggest and remind everybody that the Food and Farming Network is here as part of the Grand Vision. It's part of one of many arms of the Grand Vision that has been pushing out over the last few years, and we're really happy to have that support. One of the things we did for this Taste the Local Difference transition was, you all know, how many of you know the guide, that fabulous little book that we've put out for 8 years? We're going to change that a bit this year. Part of my job was to go around and interview people around the community. We interviewed chambers of commerce, convention and visitors bureaus, restaurants, retailers, wholesalers, and asked them, how is that being used? And we got some information, and we're going to begin changing that. A big thing we're going to change is, as of May 1st this year, you should be able to, let me first ask you, how many of you have smartphones? Raise your hand. Okay. All of you who do have smartphones, you'll be able to download the Taste the Local Difference app, which will have all the same data that was in that book and have the added incentive of allowing you to throw that on your car windshield and say, show me all the farms within 5 miles, and it'll take you there. So we've got some new and exciting things we're going to be doing. out in the community. We're also looking to track that Good Food Charter. If you looked at my work plan, the first item on that work plan is to accomplish 20% local food by 2020. That's my job. Part of that is in engaging the folks down in Lansing to help me find out what that number is on an ongoing basis. So we'll be talking more later this afternoon, so I won't spend much of your time. I'll hand it back over to Jim, but just know it's going to be my job to sell more local food. If I can help you, please give me a call.